Okay, so because of my reference photo having all the dark on that side, I'm going to connect this dark and use the shadows that I see in my reference photo. So instead of painting this as one big glob, I have some really cool green here on my brush. Look at how green it is. It's like peacock green. And I'm going to dance my way through so that way the eye stays following this pattern. And I'm going to touch up here in this shadow. And I don't want to do one big glob. See how I left that little bit of light right there? I don't want to do one big glob. And also I'm going to go ahead and get another brush and add some of the ultramarine blue and permanent rose. While I'm making it dark here, I'm going to add some more of the shadow color there, because this is going to make it interesting. See right here where I'm going to just take that the next step further, and I'm going to let it touch the green, and I'm going to drop some in because we want it to be interesting. That's the whole thing, is to make it interesting for the viewer. It doesn't have to be a continuous line, but it has to we're trying to make a pathway. Okay, so then I'm looking at there's all of this back here is actually quite dark, so I'm using the purple. This is, I guess, the shadow from these little trees. So see, these aren't going to touch, but they're close enough for our eye to keep going. I could come up right here. I'm not going to make them touch. I want it to be interesting. Now this is going to follow the dark green that's already there, and then what I can do here is indicate the stones. Okay, that's a little too blue. I want it to be a color that we are not sure what color it is. I want it to be a neutral. So I mixed brown madder with, that's still quite purple, brown madder with indigo. That'll be a good neutral. And I can go warm or cool, and I can go back and forth.
So, wait, that's what I mixed, right?
Uh-huh.
Brown madder and indigo?
Yeah.
Okay, yours looks so different.
Purple.
Yeah.
I think because I didn't clean my brush and it had ultramarine blue on there. And what I'm going to do right now is indicate these stones. See how, and make sure that the lines of the stones are going the same, the right lines for the perspective. The ones that are vertical always go exactly parallel to the edges of the paper. And then these are going to go, see, this will go in line parallel to this window line. And we don't have to make these perfect. And if you look at the stones, they're not perfect. They're kind of like round and fat, like this. And I liked how these were kind of smearing because the paper was wet. So I'm gonna actually, I'm gonna soften the edge here. I don't want it to be, I'm not gonna lose the edge, just soften the edge. I don't want it to be perfect. Okay, now I'm gonna make the next stone. We don't have to make all of them, just indicate some of them. Ooh, wrong brush.
Oh, you didn't make the boat either. I like the simplicity of it. So I want to redo it and with less of the detail.
So you
fewer details. You know?
Yes, you know how. Okay, that's a lot of pigment and really dark and so different from this color. So I'm going to drop that in. You know how they say children, before they learn how to use glue, they have to squirt all the glue, like say when they're 2, they have to squirt all the glue out onto the paper before they learn to use just a little bit of glue. Oh. So the same thing. First you have to draw or paint everything.
And then you start.
Yeah. And this took me years to get here, so don't worry. Okay. So I know right now it kind of looks like a mess, but I'm just indicating. Another trick I'm going to show you with this brush, the flat brush. Okay, so I'm looking at the stones. Notice how the stones are staggered over one another. Mm-hmm. And what I like to do is I like to put pigment down and then spread it to fill out the rest, so we get variation in that stone. Do you see how I did that? And then we do have this. Look at how black this got. This was brown matter and ultramarine blue, but look at how black it is. This one's quite purple because I still had ultramarine blue on here. Oh wait, what did I say? This is brown matter and indigo.
Indigo, okay, that's what I thought.
So I'm going to make another square right here, and we're just going to go over, this is stone. I'm going over that shadow. And it's okay, part of the shadow is going to show through, and part of it's not, but we know it's a stone. And then again, we have another stone right here. So I just started that by using the dirty paint on my brush. I can go over it like this. And this way I'm indicating, we know these are stones, like I can drop in a little paint right here, soften that. But I'm not making it one big solid rectangle. And keep paying attention to where on your reference photo, the angles, both the reference photo and also your drawing. I'm not gonna do all of them. Oh, that's a lot of water. It's hard to do when you're filming it. Okay, so I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna do all of them. I'm gonna carry this color up here now. I'm gonna indicate a stone up here. Like there's a really big one here. So I'm painting the stones versus painting the lines in between. And this indicates right here, there's a stone. I'm bringing this same dark color up. I'm gonna go ahead and do one more right over here with this dark color. It actually should go over right here. And notice how some of them are real skinny stones and some are fat and round and square. Some are rectangular. I'm gonna add more brown matter to warm it up and kind of get back to the color, the base color. Drop that in. I don't want it to be as bright orange because I don't want this to be the star. And there's another one here. So this is one way to indicate stones, by coloring in the stones. And then the other way, see how that just indicates it when you soften it like that? Mm-hmm. The other way we could do it is we could do the lines, which is the grout. And you just make sure, look at your reference photo, make sure that you're going at the right angle and all of your verticals stay vertical. And then we have one right here and one right here. And this goes like that.
So you do some of them
you can
do the grout and some of them you do kind of the stone?
Yeah.
Kind of like.
And I would just do it one way or the other on the drawing. On this one, I'm just showing you this. Okay. I might end up coloring these in. Okay. But this is, so you can just decide based on what your drawing is. And I would soften them and have some lines sharp and some not so sharp. Oh, right. And you don't have to do every line. Then like you could go right here and just use the dirty paint on your brush. Drop in some pigment. Because the key word is indicating. Okay. And then whatever you do here, you got to add a little bit over here. And notice when they go further away, it gets harder to see what they are. So just keep that line, that perspective line going and go across. Notice what your other lines are. I'm gonna have to change that line. They're gonna have to go like this. And you could just do a whole bunch of lines like this and then do some verticals. And they're really, really, when they're this far away, they're very close together, these verticals. And just because they're so far away, it's hard, you can't really, it's just an indication. You're gonna add water and really blur it out. So you could do it that way, or you could do it, like, once again, the same way by coloring in the stones. I'll color in the stones up here. And again, but they're going to be smaller because they're further away, but still they're staggered. And you're just indicating. It's okay that if you don't have too many verticals between. Just give the idea on some of them. Like that looks good. And then you could continue doing that right here. I kind of like coloring in the stones better than the grout lines. And then you could do like down here, let's add some right here. So over here, they're big and fat and, bigger in scale. And as they're going, they're pinching down in the perspective. And so they get smaller as they go further away. And you just need, like, pick an odd number, 3 or 5, 7 together, and then the same thing up there. Just kind of vary your group sizes. And that gives the impression of stone. On this side, I'm going to indicate right here these stones. I didn't draw them in, but I see the verticals. And they kind of staggered, like, see, I'm painting that with clear water. Let me go ahead and put some pigment on there for the camera. So there's one, and then the next one is going to be, they come in, right? They skip, and then they come in.
I think it's zoomed in. Could it be? Or is that the full picture?
If you just press it once, you'll see.
Oh, no, I guess that is.
And then down at the bottom, it comes in. But then that takes care of this corner. It makes this corner dark. Now see how that's all solid right here?
Mm-hmm.
That's really boring. So I'm going to lift some of that out. And then this, we don't want it to always be the same.
Mm-hmm.
We want to add variety. So that's what I'm doing right now. That has, again, so that became all the same. So I'm just going to add some pigment here to add some variety. And it could be like add variety in the corner like that. And this is all wet, but let's soften it some more. And again, we just want to say there's stone going up here. These angles here, see how strong and severe that angle is? This angle has to be the same. So it's credible to that. And then see how it's going like this, and the angle changes that way. So I could just skip and go up here and make my angle like this. So if I don't want to do all of the stones, I don't have to. And you can vary your color. You can go back and forth from warm to cool, a lot of pigment, a little bit of pigment. Just everything is constantly changing and varying. So I put some pigment down. Now I'm going to soften this. And I love, another way I like to do these stones, like especially the cobblestones, we're going to use the same technique here. I like to just do, so these are all going to be going horizontal, parallel to the paper, and then the lines going back are going to be based on this perspective. See how from this angle and this angle,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to keep going in like that. So that's how we're going to make that credible. Well, I got some paint right here, so just lift that off. Okay, so what I like to do on cobblestones or bricks when they're on the ground is I like to just hint at it by going horizontal, and I make a couple of these. And these I'm just doing in gray, which gray is made up of brown matter and indigo. And then I'm going to soften them as they come closer to the view. That's a little too much water. I'm going to soften this front edge because I'm going to make, if you look at it, it's kind of the back edge is what's sharper than the front edge. And then when they're in the sunlight, if the sun's shining right on it, that's the part that's really soft too. And some things I really like where it has more blue. I'm still gonna do some gray over it. But so this is a dirty brush, so you can just go like this and give the idea. Keep it odd numbers. Now over here, now these side pieces, and it's hard to do with how I'm sitting. I've gotta make their sides go out this way, see? So again, you can use your flat, stagger it. And you don't want to make them all too perfect. And also you don't want to don't go over pretty areas of your watercolor. Like right here where it's really, really, that's so much sunlight's here and so much sunlight's there. When you look at your reference photo. So right here, these verticals don't go up and down. They go at this angle. I hope the camera can catch that. That's how we express that there over on, let me see, I'll show again over here. Those are so bright, you don't even see them. Mm-hmm. It's hard for my hand to turn at this angle. Here's the horizontal line, and then it's gonna go this way. And this one's gonna go this way, because they're gonna be parallel to this angle here. And I'm gonna soften that edge. Now, I can't have just those two, I gotta do one right here. And you could just do like some right here. Oh. And as they come closer to you, they get bigger. And you can see that in our reference photo too. We don't have to do every cobblestone, just indicate, here's some cobblestones. These that are right here, make sure this line goes that way, you know, parallel to this side line. Oh, that didn't get caught in the camera. Make sure it's parallel this way to this line here. Put one more right there. I'm going to soften this edge. See, I like, because when you soften that edge on the bottom, it gives the idea that it's a cobblestone. To me, that's my, instead of, and I know in our photo, the reference photo, they're perfectly square, but I don't know, I think on a painting that wouldn't look that great. And then I would just do that for my stones. And that's enough to indicate that it's a stone. We all know it's a cobblestone, right? I would probably maybe, I think this one here in the yellow is too dark. I would do it lighter right here. But see how I can just lighten that up? Wow, I really got it light. So on where it's light like this, I'd still put some, but I'd put them really light. To express, hey, the sun's shining right here. I wasn't paying attention to that when I was drawing them and with this camera sitting right here in front of me. Okay, does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Okay, are you ready to try?
Sure.